What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast. I'm Ronan Gaine. Joining me, as always, Chris Nambu. Thank you so much for making this your first podcast for NBA coverage. Remember, if you like what you're seeing, make sure you subscribe. You're on YouTube. Make sure you leave us a comment, leave us a like. And as always, you do that and we'll keep producing that content. Got a lot to discuss today. We're just past All-Star Weekend. All-Star Saturday was hit and miss. The dunk contest was kind of fun, but also who the hell were the guys in the dunk contest? The three-point contest was cool to see Dame back and get that dub. And the game itself on Sunday was probably the best All-Star game we've seen in a long time. So there is some positives there. We'll have to see if it can continue on into next year. But we're kind of at the halfway point of the NBA season, not technically in terms of games played, but the All-Star break always feels like an important moment to reflect. So on today's show, we're going to be looking at 5 of the biggest takeaways from the NBA season so far. We also got to hit the fast break, talk about some of the new arrivals, some of the trades that went down at the deadline, see how they're getting on, and see what impact they could have over the rest of the season. Before we get into that, Chris, how you doing, man?
Snows this time of year. You're just probably sick of winter. You're just tired all the time and you just want a little bit of sun. Who knows, I'm just in Florida. Not a ton of sun we got down there, but man, I cannot wait to get out of this winter. I can't wait to get out of this time of year, honestly. But I also have an admission to give at the top of the pod. I don't think I've actually watched a full All-Star weekend, let alone real All-Star game, in 3 years. And I'm a little bummed that I missed this one, actually. And that's the first time I could say that. Like, watching the highlights, it looked fun. You know, the new Clippers Arena seemed like a good crowd. They got a lot of fans out there. And it actually, it seemed like the response was better. So maybe I'll tune in next year. I think there's a lot of lost viewership on this weekend because it's just been kind of a bust. It's still a bummer that the best dunkers in this game don't do the dunk contest. It's not like that. It's not like a draw. Like, you don't have an Anthony Edwards level talent doing it. I feel like it's symbolic that, LeBron James never did it. And I feel like it seems like a very extra thing that the best players in the league don't really care to do. But maybe next year I'll check it out. We'll see. And congrats to whoever it was who won the dunk contest. I had no idea the name. I can't remember his name. I feel bad not remembering his name. I think it feels like Mac McClung was the biggest name that's won it in recent memory. And aside from that, I can't even name anybody.
Carter was the winner, right? And I think he had his total dunk score was higher than his total number of points scored in the NBA. So that kind of just tells you all you need to know about.
Yeah.
I guess how good his dunks were, but also how little he's actually played in the NBA. You know, one guy I think maybe should do it just to kind of to get their rep back on the right side of the tracks is Zion Williamson. Like he's just like his reputation is just in the dirt.
Yeah.
Anyway. Like doing the dunk contest might be a way
100%.
for him to kind of get back on the right side of some people. I think that could be something that's interesting.
That's the best idea you've come up with in quite some time, right? That's a good one. Put that one out there.
Yeah. And then we had the World and against the two US teams. Obviously, the two US teams went on to the final, but it was fun. There was there was buzzer beaters. There was a little bit of defense played. It was fun just having the quarters, so there was that intensity there. Obviously, we know that the old guys got tired in that final game, and the young guys just blew them out of the water. But like seeing Kawhi go off for 31 points in 12 minutes, like that was a lot of fun. The buzzer beater from Fox and everything, and just like that dynamic of the World against the US. It was fun, so it's definitely something to build on. I'm interested to see how it improves or at least sustains next year.
Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about Kawhi in a little bit, most likely. But on the Wemby, I think that was the funniest part to see from the weekend is Wembanyama just playing as if this was a playoff game. And you need that, honestly. Like, I remember, I think the last really good All-Star game that I can remember was Kobe and LeBron when Kobe was still in his prime and LeBron was still like trying to like edge into that I'm the best player in the league kind of role, and those got competitive. And when it became like the Curry show, it just became just a spectacle. It was just fun. it's a backyard basketball game, and it very much kind of descended back into like I don't know. It's like the Pro Bowl. Who watches the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
Nobody watches the Pro Bowl. I've literally never met somebody who's like, hey, do you want to watch the Pro Bowl? Like, no one's invited me over for dinner. Maybe there are people having secret Pro Bowl parties without me. But, I mean, I remember All-Star Weekend used to be a fun thing. It used to be a thing that you get everyone together, you watch. It's fun. It's not too serious, but you see the best talent in the league, and they actually compete at least to a level. You're never going to replicate playoff basketball, but there's some level of competition. There's some level of pride in the dunk contest. I don't know if they'll ever revive or make the skills competition anything worth watching, but there has to be a way. I don't know.
Yeah, seems to have to figure out. All right.
But Kawhi, yes, 31 points. Looked like the best player all weekend. Pretty nice for him to do that in his home arena in front of his home crowd.
I think Steve Ballmer thought it was the NBA Finals the way he was reacting to it. You know?
It might be as close as he gets, honestly.
Yeah, for real. That's very true. But I think also one highlight for me was how mad Wemby got at Karl Anthony Towns when he missed it, when he messed up on defense in that first game. I was like, man, imagine you were on the Knicks, my guy. The amount of work you'd have to do helping off with Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, when I first saw he dropped 31 points, I'm like, dang, who's playing defense on him? And the first 3 clips was him getting switched on to Cat. And I'm like, okay, here we go. How many points does this really count for? If we're talking about that, that was rough. That was rough. Cat getting exposed by Kawhi on the perimeter in an All-Star game is just not. I think he'd probably just rather have stayed home at that point.
Yeah, for real. Well, let's be honest. A guy like Cat is going to get exposed by pretty much anyone on the perimeter.
Oh.
That's just what he does. But let's jump into the fast break. Let's move on from the All-Star game. Jump into the fast break. Let's talk about some of the new arrivals. Do we want to start in Cleveland with James Harden?
Yeah, I think we have to. We've seen what Harden now looks like in a Cavs uniform. We've seen him help close out a couple close games. And we've seen Mitchell now look a little bit more revitalized. So we're just seeing flashes of this now. And I think to keep it fast, really, like, does this change our view of the Cavs? Does this make us feel more optimistic of their chances to come out of the East?
I mean, it has to, because there's just that extra little bit of pressure. There's a guy there that you also believe is going to score 25 a night alongside Donovan Mitchell. It doesn't have to just be all on Donovan Mitchell's shoulders like we saw last year and that when they were in the playoffs, and obviously they were injured, but Donovan Mitchell was just being asked to do way too much. And the fact that Harden is there to take that pressure off, maybe even as we get to push towards the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell can take a few nights off. Harden can run the offense just fine, and they'll be able to still pick up wins without Donovan Mitchell on the floor. And that's just going to be a big thing, and I feel like that could stand to them as we get towards the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you notice, and the obvious thing is health. You're going to see him more than you're going to see Garland. Garland's going to have a chance to get healthy. But really, the difference in style of play and the fact that you can run so much more pick and roll with him, and in a way that is definitely different from Garland. So Garland's definitely going to run a lot of pick and roll. I still think that he is a much better off-ball player. He's going to be a lot more active. We'll see how that plays out in the Cavs. I mean, that hasn't necessarily been a big detriment to them yet. But the way that defenses have responded to him is just drastically different than Garland. I think Garland has been significantly differently defended this year, especially in the drop. I think the drop coverage was pretty soft, and it really made it tough for Allen. I think if you look at the Allen's drop off this year, you have to think about how much of that is due to Garland's lack of success. Like, how much of his success was related to those guards really feeding him. And I mean, look, I got 3 20-point games in a row from Allen. I mean, he looks much better, and obviously Mobley's not there yet, and I'm excited to see what Mobley's going to look like with Harden, if that's going to revitalize his game, if that's going to really help him out. And I think the size too, like, we've seen that Harden's not an elite defender, but the size, I think that all these factors are making me feel pretty confident about them. And I think that before this, with Garland being a big question mark, I just didn't have faith in that. I felt like it was Detroit. I still feel like I don't think the Celtics are a dark horse, and I still feel like the Celtics can be a Pacers-esque team this year. It's them two. It's the Knicks. I think I have the most confidence in the Knicks out of this whole group. But I mean, I think the Cavs firmly enter that picture now. Now that we see Harden there, and it's only been a couple games, but I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, then the impact we know that Schroeder's going to be able to have off the bench, like just he's in a perfect position that like he's just a perfectly good point guard backup. Keon Ellis, maybe he can have that little bit of a defensive impact off the bench too. Yeah, Cavs made smart moves at the deadline. Definitely have a bit more fear in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about the Cleveland Cavaliers now. You mentioned the Knicks. Let's quickly talk about Grand Theft Alvarado.
Yes, please.
Had a nice impact to start in New York. Just brings that asshole energy. That's what Alvarado brings, and every great team needs an asshole. They need that guy to get the crowd going, to get other teams pissed off, and Alvarado is going to fill that role. Obviously, had that amazing game against Philly. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that every night, but just in terms of the impact already, you can see what he's going to bring to this Knicks team, a different energy that we didn't have before, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, to start off your career as a New York Knick with 5 steals, forget the 26 points, or forget it, forget it. The 5 steals, man, that's gonna be a thing, and I think you just needed. I still think that Miles McBride is a elite defender, and if he is able to come back at some point this season, it'll be interesting to see like how they split those guys. I don't know. Can you play small and play them together? If you have Robinson out there, I don't know. But Alvaro's ability to just pick a full court and just piss you off all game and be that irritant, like having a guy like that is, I wouldn't say a culture shifter, but it definitely shifts the energy on the floor at times. And I think you have other guys to galvanize as well. If you have him on the floor, you have Josh Hart on the floor, you have guys like that are just really in your grill all game. Like that's the kind of stuff that you need in a playoff series, and I hope Jose gets to show that.
Yeah, for sure. Do we need to talk about Jaren Jackson Jr.? What did he play like a game and a half, and now he's out for the year?
Yeah, that'll tie into our thinking, but I mean, I think it's very real. I think you can't make up a tumor in your knee. It's a bummer that he's going to be out now. I think you saw the vision, and you know that they're going to be taking a different turn. But man, you know exactly what they're trying to do this season. There's that. Checking in Minnesota, we saw the debut from Ayo Dosunmu, also scored more than 20. Getting out on the floor, moving fast. I mean, he just brings a new pace to the T-Wolves that is like, whoa, just pops up. Like, for him to be able to grab and go, I think actually he's going to do more than Nickeil Alexander-Walker did there. Like, I'm being honest. I think that if they empower him the way that he could be, for him to be able to run a little bit more offense, at least early offense, I don't see him being a disappointment there at all. I think he's going to be really, really at home. I think he'll be there for a while.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks like a good fit right off the bat. What about their other new signing, Mike Conley? What do you think about him? He's pretty good in there.
That's insane, man. The only reason it's legal is because he got traded again. If he had stayed with the Bulls and not been switched over to the Hornets, he would have had to be stuck in Chicago. He could have been hanging out back there, but I mean, good for him, man. I think he's such a part of their culture, but that's hilarious.
It's really like just no one cares. Like it's like Mike Conley. What is he really gonna do against us? Like
the locker room presence, man. I think that having those vets, I think is so essential. Like someone who's gonna be besides coaches who can really talk to Ant and talk to these young guys and get them there. On the flip side of it. The dealing, like, okay, so Chicago Bulls have been such a... I've had a lot of pleasure seeing them do the right thing, which is the wrong thing. Again, we will talk about this wrong thing. But this is a new level of tanking, man. I went to the Celtics Bulls game expecting this, but I could not fathom a Colin Sexton, Dillingham, Jaden Ivey, Okoro, and Yabusele lineup. And like that's some sort of like sick twisted NBA blacktop lineup. I don't know like how that even happened, but I mean, I do, because we're trying to tank. It's just obvious we're trying to tank. But let me say that Rob Dillingham looks interesting. It looks like Kentucky Rob Dillingham. It looks like he's got a little confidence back. He's got a little bit of zip to his step. He's not too afraid to get to the rim and get blocked or maybe bum a layup. He actually made a lot of those layups against the Celtics. There's some heroic, like he's got a heroic layup package for a small guy like him, like the kind of fading away from the basket, over the head flips that he's doing over big guys. Like it's some fun stuff. But he's got a different gear, and I don't think we really got to see that too much in Minnesota, because when a guy is just afraid to make a move, you just move a step slower. He's moving quick, and I think it's cool to see that, while he hasn't been perfect and his shot has not come along, it's not looked great. He's maybe moving a little bit too fast, doing a little bit too much at times. To see a guy like him regain the confidence to at least get in his bag and show off that first step, show off his ability to get by anybody. I mean, he cooked Derek White a couple times, like pretty well. He's got a different kind of speed that not a lot of guys have.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows the difference it can make when the pressure's off. There's no pressure on him out there. He can kind of, They're almost happy for him to fluff layups. I like things of that nature. So yeah, it's nice to see him being able to kind of just play with no pressure on his shoulders. McCain had a nice little start in OKC. Nothing crazy, but you can see the idea behind him coming in, and hopefully the idea behind him being a part of this rotation.
Yeah, I mean, he could just hang out on the bench all year and just be, hey, you want to get healthy? That's fine. That's fine. Ousmane Dieng. Ousmane Dieng.
And Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas is obvious. Like I knew he was gonna have a game like this, and I am so glad we're jokingly on the money with that. It's like, hey, who's actually gonna really need him? And it's totally on the nose. And we know for a fact that narrative's gonna come up to, like, if he gets hurt or if he has like kind of a slump, it's like, we just need Cam Thomas to get right. We just need Cam Thomas to get right. Giannis, just wait for Cam Thomas to get right. But Dieng has always been interesting for me. I remember on draft night when you guys got him and then traded away his rights, and I was pretty bummed. I was really excited about Dieng. I was pretty high on him in the draft.
I remember your excitement around him.
And he just never really got in the rotation, had some moments here and there, but just never got consistent time in OKC. And he felt like a perfect second draft kind of guy. I was very excited for him to go to the Bulls. And I think I understand the argument, okay? Like, we have too many cards. Like, for us to get Nick Richards through moving him was the right basketball move, because Dieng can't really play the 5. But you also sold in a guy who I think has some talent there. And I don't know what a Senge is. And, I mean, maybe we're really sold in a Senge. It's like, hey, like, Dieng could get in the way of that developing next year. But I think that it'll be an interesting time in Milwaukee. Like, they get a chance they get a couple young guys. Can Cam redefine his career? I think you can, we joke about it, but here's a shot. Here you are playing with a generational player. Can you evolve your game right now? Can you turn yourself into something different? Can you be a part of something special? Dieng, like, you were just on the back burner of this championship team. Like, you were a high-level talent with a lot of potential, but didn't get to show it. Do you have something? I think you can sell that to a Milwaukee Bucks fan. You can sell that to a Milwaukee Bucks franchise. Question is, can you sell it to Giannis? That's going to be the question.
That's what it's all going to come back to, unfortunately. But yeah, it should be interesting to watch the end of the season. Apparently, Giannis is almost ready to come back. Apparently, just has to check off a few boxes, and then he's going to make his return. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes there. Any other new signings you want to touch on?
I think the last one that I missed on was Ivy. I think we kind of touched on my question about the health. I'm seeing it in person and watching closely for a few games now. I think Detroit Piston fans are kind of on the money with him in terms of the speed. I like that his shot has got better, but I think you'll really have to see what it looks like after a year of him getting fully healthy to see if that speed is really still there. The awkward part is the contract situation, and who's going to invest in that? I don't know. But I think, surprisingly, the more excited of the two that I am is Dillingham. That's the final thing there.
Interesting. Okay, let's see. Let's see if that holds up. All right, let's get on to the meat of the podcast. Let's get on to the 5 biggest takeaways from the season so far. We're going to do these in no particular order. I didn't really kind of rank them in any way, shape, or form. So let's just jump right in. Let's start off with a simple one. We can't christen greatness too soon. And that's something pretty much everyone did with the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is not to say that they can't still go and win a title this year. They can't still become this dynasty. But they started the season 24-1, and pretty much everyone instantly was like, yes, they're going to set the record. They're going to have the most regular season wins of all time. They're going to stroll to another title. Why even bother watching the NBA today? And since then, 18-13, we've seen the Spurs have their number in a lot of occasions this year. SGA is now hurt. We've seen J-Dub, Hartenstein, Caruso all miss significant time. There is a lot of luck and a lot of things to go into being winners, and this is not ruling out OKC by any means. They're still the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, still the favorites to win it all. But it's just interesting how quick we are to sometimes crown dynasties or crown greatness, and a lot of things can change very quickly.
No, yeah, it's funny because I don't think we were even prisoners of the moment. I think it was the moment felt very clear to everybody. That early on, they have the future draft capital. They have all these players continuing to improve. And that the competition just didn't feel like they were as competitive. But not to say that they're figured out, but I feel like the fear factor's gone. And I think that the under-discussed portion of it is that they had among the easiest strength of schedule in the first half of the year. So while they're still very far and away the best team in the NBA, they're still leading the league by a mile in net rating, they're still going to be the team to go through in the West. They're not like the Warriors level. And it's tough not to crown them. I don't think anyone made a mistake in that, because I think that they just did such a good job of setting themselves up, not just this season, but the season after, and they still have. I'm not fully off that boat yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not fully off. Just because they didn't beat the record of the win streak, just because they won't win 73 games, doesn't mean that I don't still think that they're, number one, the favorites to win the championship, and number two, aren't the best setup in the league in the current CBA structure to have a dynasty. Meaning winning 3 out of the next 5. If I had to bet on it, I don't know. I'm not betting on anyone else to win that many. Maybe Boston, possibly. We'll see if Tatum comes back. Yeah, it just goes to show that we can be, and I think not just us, but literally the greater NBA media prisoners of the moment. How soon were we out on the Pacers when they had their run, and then all of a sudden they're back. How soon in the offseason were we the Celtics, they don't have Tatum, it's not going to work out. And I think people are recognizing, hey, this is still top 3 team in basketball. Yeah. And when are we going to talk about the Pistons? It's interesting. We have some teams here that I think have a lot of opportunity. And the Celtics have already come and gone as being discussed as a dynasty. But what if they make it to the finals this year? What if they make it to the finals this year and they lose in 7?
Yeah.
I guess it's tough to say. What is a dynasty? Is that Michael Jordan? Is that a Steph Curry? Is it being at least in the finals?
Man, you gotta win. You gotta win to be a dynasty. That's just we know that's the way it goes, and we've seen a few, but not since the Warriors. But it's just gonna be interesting to see how it goes now with OKC just getting everyone back healthy. I'm not 100% sure what the timeline is on SGA. I think I assume he'll probably be reevaluated around this sort of time, and then they'll see where we go from here. But kind of getting the other guys healthy is going to be important. We know how important J-Dub is to this team, Hartenstein as well, and the impact that Caruso can have, especially in a playoff setting. So I think the biggest goal for them is they're still going to win games. I'd still be shocked if they aren't the number 1 seed in the entire NBA going into going into the playoffs, but getting everyone healthy has to be their main goal now. That's something that's kind of hit them pretty quickly. The injury bug has kind of taken over, and I know they've got great depth, but you still want these guys to be fully healthy when we get towards playoff time, to have no doubts, to not be able to fear the Nuggets or Spurs, to have that ultimate confidence going into the playoffs. Next up, where will we go from here? You know what? You mentioned the Boston Celtics, so let's go there. We're hearing so much about the issues that the league is facing when it comes to tanking, but the Boston Celtics are really kind of showing that tanking is a choice at the end of the day. Like the Boston Celtics in the playoffs last year, coming off a title, they lose their best player to an injury that we likely would, on paper, look like it would keep them out for the entirety of next season. They blew up their championship roster. They only had one big on their roster who had only previously played started 6 games in the NBA, and look at them now. They're 35-19, the second seed in the Eastern Conference. And then you look at the Indiana Pacers, who made it to the NBA Finals last year, but lost their best player to injury. He's out for the year, and they're 15-40. Actively tanking, the worst offense in the entire NBA. And I think that just shows, I obviously give credit, Brad Stevens is an absolute wizard in the front office, the way he wheels and deals, and the way he does things, and Joe Mazzulla as well, to be able to keep this team motivated, for it to never enter the psyche that it's okay to just put a pass on this season. That's a choice that Boston have made, and the Pacers have made a different choice. I know it's different with some other teams, but that's the example for me that really shows that it's a choice that teams make to try and lose. And in a world where everyone seems to be trying to lose, it's got to be nice for Adam Silver and for the NBA to see a team like Boston kind of defying the odds.
Yeah. Yes. I do have an inherent problem with that line of thinking, though. I think it's great that the Celtics are not trying to finesse a great gap year, right? And to be fair to Indiana, I think they did this the right way. They knew Halliburton was going to be out for the season, and I think it's funny to say, and I haven't even thought about this yet. Is Halliburton's impact on the Pacers' success greater than Tatum's impact on the Celtics' success? Maybe. I think that could be definitively true, just what we've seen this season. So they knew that they were totally screwed. They knew the contract situation with Miles Turner was weird, and they didn't want to be stuck on that money. And so they made a decision that this is going to be a gap year, right? They made that decision in the offseason. And they haven't, they've played Siakam. If Mathurin was meant to be a star, he would have become a star. Yes, right. But they played him for there's some games that,
except when they play the Knicks, then they want to play their full roster. Yeah, cool like that. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think that the line of thing that I have a problem with is that guys, you just got to win. You got to go out and win. Why? What incentive is there? I think that the system is inherently broken. Why would these teams ever consider winning? What motivation? And I think the Celtics have motivation. That they are happy to win because they need to maintain culture. You have a head coach. You could never convince Mazzulla to tank. Well, he would literally go insane. He would leave. That wouldn't be the Boston Celtics anymore. And I think they've developed this identity that's great, and they've actually used this time to develop some young players and rotation guys who have been really good for them. But it's such a different scenario. So to put them in this picture of oh, well, look at them, they're doing well. It's well, yeah, dude, they have Jaylen Brown. They have a guy who's an outside MVP candidate. They have a top whatever guard in Derek White. They have a good rotation. They have a championship level coach. They have a great organization that they might have Jason Tatum back. They have things going for them that they don't need to tank. But then if you look at, again, the Sacramento Kings, they accidentally tanked. They're the top.
Yeah, they tried to be good. They just
yeah. What are they gonna do? Washington, Washington, they're not getting a lot of heat for trading for Trae Young, and he's not gonna play. They're not getting a lot of heat for trading for AD, and he's just gonna rest up the rest of the season. It's well, I guess they had injuries, it'll be fine. But they're obviously tanking. But what do they have to play for? This is their last chance to tank. The Pelicans, they're trying. Brooklyn,
I
what are
don't
they
know
supposed
why.
to do? I
Because
mean, good for them. I mean, they're doing their best, but they're still third in tanking standings. Um,
Brooklyn are right to tank because like Brooklyn, like what the hell do Brooklyn have?
yeah.
Brooklyn
So I
have
mean,
absolutely nothing.
it's the system, right? So I think the line of thinking that it's like, hey, NBA, like look at the Celtics. They don't have their MVP level player, and they're still trying. It's like, well, number one, they're different. Number two, you've gamed the system. That why would we do anything different? Why would we, for the love of the game, decide to screw ourselves out of a chance to being better? And I think it just begs the question of like the different ideas that have floated around. I've heard a few that are interesting. I don't know if you've heard about the wheel format, which is essentially like there's one idea where every year you rotate out of like different positions where you guaranteed a top four pick, 6 through 10, 10 through 14, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not based on winning at all. So that's one thing. And then you could trade rights to those ranges, and no matter what, you're going to be picking within that range. And I think that the argument against that is, well, you're not going to be able to get out of the bottom. You're going to have a tough time competing if you're a bottom level team, and that's a lot of different things. Like you see that, you see you see some people talk about doing like a tournament for the bottom 8 teams. I've actually thought about something in that nature where like, I don't know, if you are a play-in team, since we hate basketball hell, hate teams that are stuck there, like your eternal Bulls, your eternal Hawks. Should those teams be rewarded? Hey, you guys are at least trying. Instead of everyone making fun of you for trying and trying to do something, maybe you should be guaranteed pick. Like if one of the play-in teams, maybe they get guaranteed a pick. One of you 4, congrats for making the play-in. You also, one of you will get a top 4 pick instead of one of these bottoming teams. I don't know, things like that. All the arguments against these are, well, how are the bad teams going to get better? But I mean, I think it's too bad. I think too bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there should be
losing
like
can't just make it better. You can't just like, oh yeah, we'll just lose and lose and lose and lose, and then like, and then we'll go, and then we'll be good to go. Like that's just a terrible way. Like, I don't know how you could figure this out or how it would be fair. But if there was some way to like, benefit a team who's like in the play-in for 3 years in a row, where they have the rights to a top 4 pick, and punish the teams that are outside of the play-in 3 years in a row, where they like drop out of the lottery or something like that. Like there should be like some sort of cutoff where the middling teams can find some way of getting some benefit from it.
Yeah, like a team should absolutely not have the right to have top 4 odds like 3 years in a row. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, you had 2 shots in it, and it's obviously like, hey, what if those 2 drafts sucked? What if it was last year's draft and draft before that? Then, not 2 years before. And you got Zachary Visachet, and I don't know if you're stuck with Dillingham. It's like, well, did that really count? I don't know. I think that you look at the ingenuity of teams around the league. Like, look at the Pacers. What number top 4 pick did they draft? Nobody. Like they built that team. They built that team. And I think that if you look at them, maybe they're an exception. OKC, that they're the team that they drafted that. They put that all together. They built all the draft capital for it. Sure. Same with the T-Wolves. Look at where that came from. But then you look at the Nuggets. Like the Nuggets, they got lucky. They got their Jokic, but they were also smart about the guys they got. Murray was a top 10 pick, but then they traded for Gordon. They built up that depth. I mean, the team like the Heat, you just look at a lot of middling teams, though, and you look at your Miami Heats, you look at your Chicago Bulls, you'll probably be looking at a team like the Blazers eventually. Teams that are good but not great. And if they can't be rewarded, if they can't get that top 4 guy, they'll always just be stuck in the play.
Yeah, and then like they'll like obviously we know the culture of Miami is always to try and win, and when they've got such a great head coach and exposure, they're always going to find ways to win. But what's stopping them from like just saying, okay, we'll just lose now. I know like it's a culture thing and like they shouldn't do it, but I hope it would be sad to like see that happen. But like eventually, there's the straw's gonna come that breaks the camel's back when maybe they don't get Giannis, and that's yet another big time star that they were in the market for and they don't get. And like Chicago, Miami, two big markets, and they've been stuck in the middle for a while now. I know, I guess we're kind of forgetting that Miami were in the finals only a few years ago, but it just feels like, I know we talk about the small markets and we have to find a way to benefit them and give them that extra like helping hand, but there's got to be something done because like look at Washington, how long they've been in, they've been in the outside of the playoffs. Other teams like that are always in and around it, like Brooklyn. I know they went for it. Now they're just in the complete demise. Like the Hornets have been in and around there for a while. There's obviously more teams in the Eastern Conference than there is in the West, but it's definitely just sad that you kind of feel like you're seeing the same teams in the bottom 3-4 of each conference every year.
Yeah. Maybe you do things too as well, like it's always going to come down to. I think there should be less regular season games. It would make them more meaningful. You'd have players less likely to be injured, and it's just a money thing. Obviously, like the amount of money that would be lost would be tough to swallow, especially with the contract situation.
Yeah.
But if you tied a lot of the incentives for players, like, and I know that you're being told, hey, you can sit, but I mean, maybe these games lost should be tied more to how much they're being paid, unless it's like a season-ending injury, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But at any rate, I think that there's enough movement. There's also now movement on the front of expansion, which should be interesting. So I think that there will be a change. That there will be a change over the next couple of years. I think we have seen that inevitably that like this just value of rewarding losing is going to be bad. And I think that we're waking up to that. And while people are going to be worried about bad teams staying bad, we've seen a lot of bad teams figure things out. And just look at the talent around the league as well. You're telling me that the Jazz, if they didn't offload some talent or make some trades and really try to go in, you're telling me that they wouldn't be a competitive basketball team? I don't believe that. I just don't.
No, absolutely. I think the one of the best band-aids that I think that you can put on the draft is getting rid of protections. I think maybe you can keep top 4 protected. Outside of that, you trade your pick away. I think it has to be gone. I think that's something that I would like to see happen. I hate trying to follow all these protections, like top 8 protected, like that weird one that the Pacers traded. It's like top 4 protected and also like top like 6 through 10 protected or something ridiculous like that. Like I think maybe you keep top 4 protected, but outside of that, you trade a first round pick, your pick is gone.
I think we live in a world where transactions are sometimes more fun than like real basketball, to be honest. I think so much of like the stories that are made, podcasting, YouTube, everything, like talking about, this player going there, this player going there, and it's exciting. Like transactions are exciting. The business of basketball is fun. So this may be radical, but I mean, how many of these problems are inherently because you can trade picks? Like, what if you just couldn't trade picks? What if you couldn't trade picks? Like, and teams just had to be patient instead of, I don't know, like the Nets, like the perpetual hell they've put themselves in because of the irresponsibility of prior ownerships. Like, you shouldn't be able to totally mortgage your future. But I mean, it would be less fun. I think it would be less fun to not see the highs and lows, and it's all part of the NBA that we see today and we love. I don't know how much change I want to see when, you never know the unintended consequences. I still think this is better than the mega tanks that we would see a decade ago when it's just totally, you gotta race to the bottom. Now it's like kind of soft tanking. I think as a team, like I'm following the Bulls now. If we're in the bottom 8, cool. I'm not stressing about like getting all the way to the bottom, right? So maybe there's incremental change that can be made. I'm still a fan of. I think you reward those middling teams somehow.
Yeah,
reward teams that are in
teams.
basketball.
The middling team last year got the number 1 pick. Maybe a middling team this year gets the number one pick, and teams start to look at that and say, is middling actually where the most luck is? I don't know. Maybe that's an unspoken rule that the NBA have tried to implement there. But yeah,
give the Lakers your best player, and I promise.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, I actually completely forgot about that element when I brought that up. But yeah, the tanking problem, it is there. There's going to be some fixes, but definitely an important space to watch. And it's good to see Adam Silver talking on it. And I think it's important that he kind of acknowledged that middling is the worst kind of place you can be in the NBA, and that hopefully that means there's a way of helping the teams there. But we'll have to see. And speaking of tanking, let's talk about a team who are no longer tanking and who are finally thinking about winning and not drafting, and that's the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, they still have a losing record, but they are in the play-in. They are looking ahead. They're only 3 games back of the 7th seed. They are just coming off a 9-game win streak where they were the number 1 offense and the number 3 defense, and that doesn't happen to a team that are tanking. That's a team that want to win now. They are a top 10 offense on the season. They're one of the best shooting teams in the league. They're 2nd in 3-pointers made, 4th in 3-pointers attempted, and 5th in percentage. They shoot well from the line as well. They're 2nd best. They don't get there very often, but they're 2nd best from the line. And now you've got Miller really starting to get going again. Khan has looked great as a rookie. LaMelo kind of starting to figure it out. Like, this is a real team now.
I think one part of this that we're underrating is just LaMelo Ball's health. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's been able to be on the court for this extended period of time. I think we always were wondering, like, how good could this team be if LaMelo just played? And, man, he's been great. He's been so fun. And I think the most fun wrinkle that I've seen this year, just in terms of, like, seeing, like, new things on the court, that step-back 1-footer from 3 has been crazy to watch because we saw him do it in high school. Like, you're not going to be able to do that here in the NBA. But a lot of development coaches, guys on Twitter who talk about like the advancements in the game, have always said that the 1-footed step back is eventually going to make its way into like real professional basketball, and I mean, he's kind of pioneering that. We've seen Harden do it a few times. I mean, we see LaMelo do it like every game, a few times a game. Do you know he's shooting on step back threes? He's shooting just under 35%, and you see those too. Like the step backs that he's taking, the level of difficulty on those shots, like it's pretty crazy. It's pretty impressive. But we've always seen like when he's been healthy, like how much the ball can zip, how good he is at like relocating, and the fact that he and Con Knipple work perfectly off of each other. I think the one thing that you can overarch with this development here is the chemistry that we've seen this team have. And it's cool to see them have like a real identity. Like they're probably, a lot of people try to compare them to the Pacers, but I think they feel a little bit different, but they share a lot of similarities, honestly. Like in the way that if LaMelo Ball is coming up the court, you can get a screen from anybody. You can get a screen from Con, and then Con can fade to the corner. Con can then, if they can do a lot of inverted screening actions, and then that both those guys can shoot off the ball. You know that you got to be aware of Miles Bridges on that backside. The type of the bigs that they have here as well. Like Musa's been great. Kalkbrenner's been really great in his role as well. Like they just have everybody on the floor that on the perimeter can shoot. They can grab and go. They're good without the ball in their hands, and it's all starting to come to fruition. And I don't know, man. Like they would not be a fun matchup for a slower team in the first round. The defense has been solid as well, so I don't think that they're necessarily going to be a sieve. I think they've shown a lot more willingness to defend on that end, while their bigs have also been a big part of that. And Musa he's good defender. We've seen him like in fun flashes over the last year, like last season, just like having random huge games, and then now just like really putting it together. Like he's very, very solid big. And I mean, just talk about Kalkbrenner, like as a rookie, being able to play the drop well. Like he's a very, 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 very solid big for a rookie. I mean, I would not be excited to face his team in the first round. Like if you're the Pistons are a very good team. They probably win the. I mean, if they make it as high as the 6th seed, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But they're a team that I think would actually be competitive in the playoffs at this point.
No, and I feel very confident about them definitely coming out of the play-in one way or another, whether that's as the 7th seed or the 8th seed. And I just think it would be a great testament to the impact of Con Knippel and just the change in this Hornets team. Like, we remember last year, they were right up there in the NBA when it came to 3-pointers attempted, but no one could knock down a shot. And look at them now; they're still shooting as many threes, but they're now one of the best teams at making them, and that's the difference in this team. One of the major differences in why they're looking at potentially finishing with a winning record this year, potentially making it into the playoffs. So I think it'd be a great testament to them, and just the switch up that can be made, and just finding that final piece and just getting everyone healthy, that impact that it can have.
Yeah. Do you feel like they're a move away, or should they just be patient?
I think patient for now, but I think they should be in a similar sort of position of the Orlando Magic. I know their big swing isn't really working out so far, but just be aware that they're in a position there where they can be aggressive, and we'll just wait and see. Let's see how Con looks in his second year. Let's see if Miller can now stay healthy. He's really looked like he's back in a groove now. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Brandon Miller. Can he be healthy from the start of next season and they can really push on then? I don't think they have to do anything drastic right now.
Yeah. I think the way everything looks right now has been great, and Kobe White, I'm very excited for him to play.
Yeah.
The speed at which he could play with, bring more shooting off the bench. But yeah, man, I think some people thought about, okay, this team is like good now. Like, what can we do in the offseason? Like, how can we supercharge this team? But I still think Brandon Miller can get better. I don't know what Con's ceiling is, because he's already so good. I mean, I think that as he gets adjusted, like, maybe he'll just be more consistent. But I mean, dude, like, he's already so good. But the way that these guys play off each other now, I think people should just be excited with it. Just be excited.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's what it's like. It's Charlotte Hornets basketball. It's been a long time since you've been able to be excited. You started to sort of get excited when LaMelo was drafted. Then all the injuries and it never really led to winning, and we don't know what happened there. I think this is the real moment for Hornets fans to really kind of lock in and notice again. I'd like to think there's a lot of people around Charlotte that are saying, "Oh, basketball is worth watching again. Oh, that's interesting." I hope they're getting excited, because I'm super excited about this Charlotte team, and I would love so much if they're able to make it into the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Who is next?
Let's flip it over to the more negative positive. I'm not really sure what angle this is. Let's look at the Houston Rockets. I think my biggest takeaway watching what I've seen this year is that they are not a true contender. Despite the fact that they are the 4th seed, they're 33-20, just 4 games back of the 2 seed, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they can catch up to the Spurs between now and the end of the season. But they made that big off-season trade for KD. They made big depth moves in free agency. Now we already know Van Vliet's out for the year. They lost him just before the season started. Adams is now out, who was making such a big impact when him and Şengün shared the floor. Şengün, he's been good. I just feel like I'm expecting more from him. I don't know what the more is, but I feel like I'm just expecting a little bit more from him. They don't have that natural point guard. The shooting struggles of some of their guys has been really noticeable. But I mean, it's just, and then the biggest thing I'm looking at is that 6-9 record against teams with a better record than them. I feel like that's pretty eye-opening to me.
Yeah, it's been a tough go, and I'm not even going to bring up the whole like burner account thing, because I don't I don't even know if I believe. I don't know. It's yeah, whatever. We'll leave that alone. I think that overall it's been a bummer that there hasn't been a lot of forward progression.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think interestingly, it's not even been about, and maybe it is about not having like a true point that has been able to take over this team. But it's not really even been about that. It's not like, oh, dang, everything's working so well, and Reed Shepherd and Amin Thompson aren't getting it done at the point. Like that, it's not even it. Like there are just stretches of games where they're they're just not on the same page. And I think to a certain level, at what point do we look at Ime and he's always on the sideline, just like pissed off about a possession going nowhere, and then Kevin Durant taking a long two. But what's the vision? Like what are they supposed to be getting to? Like where's the flow of offense? And a lot of this is always going to come down to I think roster construction. There's just not enough shooters. There's not enough guys who can do more off the dribble. But it's been too long. I think that there needs to be a change, and that's why I'm still really shocked that they didn't make a move at the deadline. I think that was the biggest miss, is that they did not get another ball handler. They did not address spacing in any meaningful way, and they're just going to hope that they just build on what they have right now, which is they'll lose a few games, then come right back. And they're still just hovering in the top of the West. So you can't really, if you look at it objectively, like, are they a fake contender? I don't know. I think they're inherently flawed, but how many other flawed contenders are there? Like, if you look at the Timberwolves, they're certainly flawed. And you look at the Nuggets, their health issues. What does it look like with Jokic off the floor? I mean, it's actually been better this year, so that's not as much of an issue. But I mean, there's flaws in any team, and this one has a big one. It's glaring, it's obvious, and it looks ugly. But sometimes they just win ugly basketball games, and I think that's always going to be the argument for the Rockets. At the end of the day, yeah, it's a flawed basketball team. They're really great at rebounding, really great at defense. They have the best scorer in basketball, though. If you have KD and he still looks like this, and you are in a playoff game, and you make it a disgusting, slow, mucky game, and it's a 2-possession game, and there's a minute left on the clock, hey, we got Kevin Durant. Is that how you want it to be? No, like it would be a more beautiful game if Şengün and KD played a little more naturally off each other. If Reed Shepherd, I mean, who's not been bad by any means, had a great third quarter against Clippers, or fourth quarter against Clippers with KD. Like, I mean, those two are the reason they didn't drop 2 straight. And I mean, can you argue against that? Like, not a lot of teams gonna have that.
It's just like going up who you're going up against. I feel like the Timberwolves would be able to take them down, and it's pretty much, realistically, I feel like that the changes that could be made in the Western Conference in the playoff seeding, it's like it's the Lakers, the Wolves, and the Rockets are the 4, 5, 6 seed. It's probably just going to be where those 3 teams end up in terms of the seeding. I feel like realistically, it's probably going to be Lakers at the 6, Wolves at the 5, Rockets at the 4, and I think the Wolves. I think I'd back the Wolves to take down the Rockets. The Lakers, that one would be interesting. I'd be interested to see that. That could be a series that goes 7 games, because I think they're both such flawed teams that it'd be a balancing act, and then we go down to maybe a Luka versus KD showdown in a game 7 or something like that. But I don't know, just the position that they're in, I don't think there's a realistic matchup they can get in the first round where I'd have the ultimate confidence in them getting the win.
Yeah. I really wonder, like, do you think I was being objective when I wanted Tari Eason? And maybe my reaction when I was looking at the potential Kobe White for Tari Eason buzz, that I was like, all right, if I'm this excited about that, maybe it's not an even trade. But I mean, dude, like, how much more could you unlock this team? You give them a willing shooter, give them a guy who's going to pick up the pace, who's going to score more in transition, who, I mean, he would be so great next to Thompson. Like, I think it makes me feel like the Rockets may be the biggest loser from the deadline, just the way that they didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Even go and get the forever Band-Aid in Mr. Dennis Schroeder, the guy who's traded at every single deadline. Like, even go and get him. That would have had a positive impact, not long term, but for the rest of the season. I think that alone would have had a positive impact. Kobe, I think, would have been a great fit. I guess it was more probably about not wanting to give up Tari Eason. He's the only other guy that's shooting at volume and shooting at 40% on this Rockets team, and I guess they just knew they couldn't give that up. Not to say Kobe couldn't do it as well, but like, this is a team that are bottom 5 in 3-pointers made and attempted. Yeah. So they're like,
I mean,
whatever shooting they can get, they need it.
That's why you get DFS. You got DFS. You have depth at that position. You know, Amen can play that position as well. and I'm going to probably be more comfortable playing in that off-ball role at times. I think it was. If this is a failed season when you're kind of leaning in the direction of you get to keep Amin, you get to keep Shingu, you make these smaller moves. Is Tari really going to? What is Tari going to be for this team? Tari for this team is going to be a important rotation player, and he's going to be someone that eventually is going to be disgruntled. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Eventually, he's not going to be on this team. It's going to be him or Jabari Smith. Who are you going to pick? I think Jabari still has the higher ceiling. So, I mean, you have to make that decision eventually. And the longer you wait, I mean, take it from a Bulls fan, the longer you wait, the lower the value is going to be. But, they'll still have a puncher's chance. It's so simple, man. I think it's so simple. Anyone who's, really down and out about the Rockets, listen, they can still beat the crap out of you on defense. They can still rebound better than anybody. And they still have the best one-on-one scorer on the planet. And they have a guy like Alperen Şengün who could also turn it up in the fourth quarter. It's going to be 7-game series the whole way through, but it's going to be...
One of the biggest things I noticed on it was just that offensive rebounding reliance that they have, and losing Adams, it kind of made me think about what the Knicks would look like without Mitchell Robinson. I think that's a gigantic drop-off. I think that's such an important facet of how they score the basketball and how they win games, and I think that's going to be more important maybe than people realizing. Oh, their backup big is out. Oh, that's not the end of the world. I think that's a really important wrinkle for this team moving forward for the rest of this season for sure. But let's move on. Let's finish it out. Let's finish out positive, negative again. Who really knows what this is? Kawhi Leonard can still be Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard can still be one of the best players in the entire NBA. He has played 41 games this year. That's more than last season. He's averaging 28, 6, and 4 on just slightly under 50, 40, 90 averages. He missed 10 games in a row after playing the first 6. The team went 2-8 in that period. That was one of the reasons they were in that hole that they were in. He's only missed 3 since. They are 22-19 with Kawhi Leonard this year. Is this a turning point, or is this him kind of saying to himself, I need one last payday?
I don't know, man. If you gave me truth serum, I'd probably say it's about a payday. But I think at this point we can just enjoy it. I want to just enjoy it because I'm definitely a big Kawhi critic. I'll admit that. I think the way that he's sucked this organization dry. I think anyone who's a Clippers fan just can't honestly deal with the reality that he has been the reason that this team has been mired in just mediocrity and failed expectations. But at the same time, when you watch him play basketball, there's a lot of Kawhi truthers out there that are he's the best player of this generation if he was healthy. And it's hard not to see that. You see the shot making, you see the defense, the absolute unstoppable force he is on that end. And you see that brand of back to the basket, mid-range. He has everything. And it's hard to deny it, man. You watch him play like that, and he's having his best year. He's averaging over 27 points. He hasn't done that ever. Is he going to keep going? And my big question is, if Garland comes back, are they just going to keep it going? They have nothing to play for. Why not?
Yeah, they're a team that should be trying to win games because just for the sake of winning, because they do not have a draft pick next year, so there's literally no benefit to them losing games.
Yeah, this is the true spirit. I think that pure basketball for them and for the team the Pelicans are still trying to win. They have nothing to lose, and they're still losing. They're losing good. But you look at the Clippers. What do they have to play for? They have to play for their fans. They have to win. What's so important for this organization is continuing to build their brand. They have a brand new arena. They're trying to continue a presence, and it can't all just be, well, we're going to have cap space in the future. We've got some cap space, and we'll figure something out there. We're in LA, so we'll do that. But maybe they can do something here. Maybe if they can have a play-in appearance and a play-in run, if they can be in a first round of the playoffs. I mean, that would just be a lot of fun. You give Ty Lue a chance. He's got some bodies.
Look at who they might face in a play-in situation. Like, it would be a Warriors team without Butler. Who else is there? The Trailblazers in there. Like, I like, you could easily see the Clippers winning 1 or 2 games in a row to make it in as that 8th seed, and like, it would just be fun again to see Kawhi in a playoff series. Kawhi is always a fun player to play in a playoff series. I'm not going to back them to go and beat OKC Thunder or a Spurs or a Nuggets in the first round. I'd be shocked if that happened, but it's always great to see Kawhi in the playoffs because he has been one of the premier playoff performers whenever he actually is there, which unfortunately isn't as often as we would like.
Is Kawhi Leonard better than Kevin Durant when healthy?
Probably, yeah.
That's great. I'm not sure. It's really hard for me to answer that question.
Pure scorer wise,
really
you're gonna take that KD. But at the same time, like, Kawhi's got that gene in him. You're like, if you just need a bucket, who would you go for? Like, that's a tough ass question. It's kind of a win-win question, really.
Yeah. Is Kawhi Leonard a better player than Jason Tatum when healthy?
Yeah.
Is he a better player than Anthony Edwards?
I'm gonna say, it'd be crazy to say no right now. I think Ant is insane.
I mean, definitively no. Like, right in the last 2 months, who's a better player?
I mean, it's probably the dead heat, really. But I guess maybe it's not Kawhi.
I'm taking Kawhi. I mean, Kawhi's not falling asleep on defense. Like, that's
fair.
Yeah, you're never gonna be able to say that. Like, it is really true that I think Kawhi is firmly a top 5 player when he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's showing that. Yeah. So if you have a top 5 player, and yes, you just kind of gutted your roster, but hey, you got Brook Lopez, who can still play basketball. He can still play minutes there. And then you look at the state, the Western Conference. I mean, the thing about the Trailblazers is we didn't get to actually mention this when we talked about tanking, but the impact that tanking is going to have on the playoffs is going to be pretty tremendous. The Blazers have the most amount of games against tanking teams than the rest of the league. They have 10 games against tanking teams. So, I mean, you can kind of almost bank 8 out of those 10 for the Blazers. I mean, I think that they're going to be firmly in the play-in. But I think you kind of take the Clippers over pretty much all of these teams up through the T-Wolves. I don't know how that would shake out. But they'll be competitive with pretty much anyone in the bottom of that playoff race. And then you're just talking about a 7-game series against the Spurs. Against, I mean, if it's OKC, that's kind of tough. But I don't know, man. Kawhi against the Spurs.
They're not beating OKC.
No. I know. But I'm saying, like, the Spurs should win that. They should win that. But it does a Kawhi series against the San Antonio Spurs, as he's having his best scoring year of his career. He's magically healthy again. I mean, that would just be primetime television.
That'd be really fun. I hope we get to see that, because at least you could, like, don't get me wrong, that could easily be a 4-0 sweep for the Spurs, but at least you could the build up to that game will be so fun. You could talk yourself into this being this great series, and Kawhi could put the team on his back and win them a couple of games and turn that into something.
Yeah.
It's just going to be interesting to see, like, what they do this season. Do they just keep Kawhi on? I think he's extended through 2027, I believe. And then, like, do they just keep him around? It's like, we need that star guy. We just got this new arena. We need to still, like, bring people to the Intuit Dome, or do we get a resolution to this whole investigation that's going on? Maybe that's no big deal. And then do they look to move him in the summer? It's going to be super interesting to see where it goes from here, because it feels like they've begun the blow up. Do they completely complete the blow up by getting rid of Kawhi, and I guess in their position hopefully get a first round pick out of it?
Well, yeah, here's the fun one. Say he has this incredible run. He's, like, totally healthy, right? And then you go through this whole thing. Does anyone want to do a rental Do you want to have a Toronto Raptors year? Hey, Charlotte Hornets, you guys could win the East. You just need Kawhi for 1 year. I don't know. Do you want to give us a couple picks? We could use some of them.
Yeah, honestly. Crazier things have happened in this world. It was crazy enough when he made that move to Toronto after that weird ending and the way that went down in San Antonio. So I mean, like, crazier things that happen. I feel like it's a more fun space maybe to watch than the Giannis situation. It's like obviously going to be less talked about because we know the overhanging things and we still don't know how real his health is. But Kawhi for the rest of this season, I think and into the off season is probably one of the top 3 kind of guys to watch in the entire NBA.
Yeah, no doubt.
And let's hope it continues, because like just watching him in that 31 points, I know it's the All-Star game, and just seeing that's what he's capable of doing. Like he can do that in a regular season game as well, in a playoff game. Like that is the talent that Kawhi Leonard has. And as much as it's been infuriating, and much as it's probably his attitude makes us believe that he's not really in it for the love of the game and kind of chooses to not play just because he doesn't really care enough. Maybe that's just his attitude that does that to us, but that's the way that it feels. And hopefully, like, this is just a sign of a turning point where he's like, fuck this, I'm going to show just how good that I am, and hopefully that can continue into the rest of the season. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode. I think we're not going to spin the wheel this week because it's a short week, but next week we'll be back and we'll be spinning that wheel, and hopefully we'll get the Los Angeles Clippers, because we did talk about them a lot on this pod. So maybe that's the way that it works. Unless you want to spin the wheel, are you wanting to spin the wheel today?
I always want to spin the wheel. We're running out of weeks. We gotta spin the wheel.
You know what? We are running out of weeks. Let's see what we can do about spinning that wheel.
Now, have we eliminated the appropriate teams?
Of course not, because then it wouldn't be right. But we'll get it done. We'll get it done.
We can always cheat and respin and pretend.
Exactly. We can cheat again.
And while you're pulling that up, speaking of Giannis, slated to return soon. I mean, he's saying he's 100%, but that's something to watch the next week as well. Are they going to keep him out?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do it. Spinning that wheel.
Is this a new wheel?
Detroit Pistons.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Very nice.
We definitely need to chat about the Pistons. They're still leading the East. No one's talking about them enough. I think we gotta get into it. I know you don't want to talk about them. You're still probably a little.
Yeah, I'm still like a little bit obviously scared and like horrified and stuff like that. But we finally play the Pistons at home on Thursday. The return of NBA basketball tomorrow night. Knicks Pistons. We get right into the good stuff with the Detroit Pistons. So yeah, lock in for that one, and let's watch the Detroit Pistons for the next week. That's nice. It's the first time we've got one of the best teams, I think, in the NBA for this.
No more. We won't have to talk about drafts or what.
We're actually just like talking about winning and not talking about what they could maybe do in the playoffs. That's going to be good. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for sticking with us, and most importantly, remember to take every shot and love every moment.
Peace out.